This is a continuation of 3B part 1, where you are asked to create the style sheet. So we've already set up our website, as you can see here, and we're now going to set up the style sheet that's going to go with it and will apply to all pages in that website. So I do that by clicking on this button here, which is Cascades. And this is a little bit complicated what we've got to do here, and it's just a case of we've only got to do it once, so we'll try and get on and do that. So we need to make sure we've got this selected here, internal style sheet. And what we're going to do now is we're going to create what's called a linked style sheet. That means that it will be an external file, it will have its own name, and all the other pages will refer to that one name, that one file. Okay, so we've done that, okay, and we're now going to click on Create Style Sheet because we want to create a new one. Alright, so this will actually create the file. And if we go back and click on the internal style sheet again, we can now export that to a file name. I told you it was complicated, but we'll just click on this button here. We can now give it a sensible file name. Let's make sure we're in the correct folder, which we are, and I'm going to call it Royal Return .css. Now CSS is necessary at the end because it's a cascading style sheet file. I haven't put any spaces in here, I've done it all in lowercase. That's the normal convention. So I click on save now. You'll now see we've got royal return .css. Now what we can start doing is creating the actual styles that are going to go in there. You'll have just noticed a bit of a flicker of the screen. That's because I've opened up now the design specification so that we can see that alongside what we're going to be creating here. So we've got to create a style for each of these different areas, and we've also got to create styles for each of these different types of text. So to create a style, we use this little button here and we select Style Rule. Now we've got different types of style that we're going to use. Now what we do is we use these ones to class styles for the areas. So it will always start with a full stop, and the first one I want to create is called top. So I'll create my style rule, and then we continue through that process. So I'll do another style rule here, and we call that one buttons. And then I'll create another style rule, and again we'll call this one the main bit for the main area. So that's our three rules created for the areas. Now we're going to create our rules for the font styles. So this is going to be this one, style applied to all elements of type. First of all, we're going to have our web page titles. Now for this we're going to use built-in styles. I'm going to use H1, which is the heading 1 style. And for the second one, which is going to be our subtitles, I'm going to use H2, so that's the next level down. And finally for the body text, I'm going to create the one called body, because this will apply to all text that we use that isn't any other style. Now that we've created each of these styles, we now need to configure them. So to configure the top area, we've got to look at what needs to be included. Our width is going to be 100%. So if we select up here the box option, we can type in here 100%. Now you'll notice that we've got different options between pixels, percentage, centimeters. So I'm just going to put in there 100%. And for the height, okay, we're told here that it's going to be 50 pixels. And if we have a look, it's px for pixels. So that's the width and the height completed, and the background has to be black. So I'm going to go to background and I'm going to select the color here to be black. Now although it defaults to white, if you are going to have a white background you need to select white as well. So click on OK, and that has now selected that to be black. So we repeat exactly the same with the buttons, 100% height, background black, so I'm not going to show you that. The main one is slightly different in that the background is going to be white this time. There we go, so it's got white. And our box, well, we're going to have a width, okay, of 100% as before. but we're not going to have a height because it's going to be continuous. We don't know when it's going to actually finish. It will depend on each page. So now we've got to set up each of these styles. So we've got H1 to start with. Well, H1 was our web page titles. So if we go to text, we can change the settings for text. So we've got some predefined options here, and you can see there's a serif option, which is going to be Times New Roman. Our font size, we are told, is going to be 24 pixels. That's not points, that's different. So we put 24. Our colour, we are told, will be white. That's because it's going to be on a black background. So we don't see anything here now. And our font weighting, you can see, is going to be bold. Okay, so we now need to repeat that process for the subtitles, that's H2, and for the body, but of course the body won't be bold. And when we've done that, we can click on OK. At that point, we'll be able to test and check to see whether the settings have actually applied, which we'll have a look at now. The first thing we're going to check is that the Royal Return CSS file has appeared, which it has. Ignore this one. This is in a similar but different task instructions, a different option for you to use if Composer isn't available to you. And if we click on this CSS Editor, we can see all of our styles, and as I click on each one, you'll notice that there is a summary. So I can compare that, and I can see that all three things have been completed there. The same with buttons, black, 100%, 50 pixels. The main is white with a width of 100%. Heading 1 has got all 4 settings. Heading 2 has also got all 4 settings. And body, no, there's only 2 settings here. Well, we didn't need bold, but it's missing out the pixel size. So we just need to add that in. So we go to text, and we'll put in our font size in pixels to be 14. We'll click on OK and just double check that that's been done, and we can see it has been. So that's our style sheet that's been set up. That is the main part of the task completed. What we now need to do is annotate that style sheet and put the evidence into our document. So that will be the next part of the tutorial.